Want to say welcome to one and all to another version here, I Never Knew TV live edition here on a Sunday with the brilliant Dejazmatch Kwasi. Hopefully everyone's doing good. Fight, you know how we do on the live reasons, always on the heights, and we're definitely ready to go with this one. Um, I have to remind the people this reasoning here is in preparation for Groundings with my brothers and sisters that will be in Philadelphia October 12th. We have Styles P, Muda Baruka, Nori Muhammad, the Dejazmatch Kwasi, who is here, aka the Reed and Ross, Dr. Dorothy Holly. We have Lawrence Aja, who did a live reasoning, which you need to check that out. We have Deborah Hines and midwife Asasia. Also, we did a reasoning with Nuri Muhammad last week. Powerful reasoning. Want to check that out. Tomorrow night, Monday night, we have Muda Baruka live on the reason. So make sure you check it out. Farai, how you doing?
I'm giving thanks for life and strength. I just want to greet your audience in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie the First. His chosen Queen Empress was Zero Menen. It's a pleasure to be here on I Never Knew TV once again.
A serious thing, Fire, and we give thanks for you. Because I know when you come, you always come with the mighty sound. Fire. For the Lions Voice Network, the British is a real teaching. So I hope you there get your pen and paper, because it's the real lion voice you're going to get right now here. I Never Knew TV.
Yes.
The topic tonight is discipline, right? Discipline, very important for the men. Respect to this breakthrough. Trunso TV on the early entry. And Farai, I think men don't understand. Before we even get there, Farai, before we even get to the discipline, we got to burn the fire since the Ross on here. And we had to burn the fire because the Ross on here. And this is a serious thing. Two people, actually, two guests made mention of this, right? They spoke about
Yes.
olders versus elders, right?
Yes. Yes.
Too many a time we're around older people who aren't necessarily elders. And I can speak from personal experiences that you have to be very careful of the olders you're around because when I was young, it's a lot of older men that was encouraging me to deal in activities that would be destructive towards my life and my future.
Yes.
So we got to
Yes.
burn a fire on the older men that are encouraging this type of loose behavior that is destructive.
I want to bring some context to this. I was born in the island of Jamaica. When Jamaica was established by the British in terms of as a colony, they were only importing men to the island. That policy was work them, 2-year average, and then they die. They would import more. They realized that this methodology wasn't efficient or sustainable, so they started bringing in women, and they started industrialized breeding programs where they are now utilizing black males as breeders, just like the same way they would do on an animal farm. This is how our ancestors were treated. And so this breeding culture becomes embedded in the people. So we have these men that even in that time were called bulls that were used to impregnate as many women as possible. And I posit that this has became a inbred part of Jamaican culture and a lot of the Caribbean islands. This concept of the man impregnating, breeding the most women that they can. So just like I grew up in the 90s. I came of age in the 90s, started high school in the early 90s, and we were listening to dancehall music that was teaching us about being a gallus and this gallus culture, which is a modernization of the breeding culture. So when you talk about the elders or older brethren, they are just perpetuating what they were taught, what they were cultured in the culture to pass down this behavior, this damaging behavior that we have adopted, that devalues family and that measures your manhood by how many women that you can sleep with and how many women that you can impregnate, how many children do you have. This is the marks of a man within the culture that I think we both come from. So I want to just give some context that these elders or these older brethren are being cultured on a plantation system. And so we're carrying on this generational curse.
serious thing, Far. I'm glad you put the word in there in regards to distortion of manhood. You know, because that's what I was exposed to as a young age. That's all they talked about, Fire, and that's all they encouraged you to do. Wasn't nobody really? They was encouraging that way more than any form of discipline, any form of structure. It was just women conquering women, and that's it. And too many brothers, unfortunately, take that as the highest form of manhood and find themselves in problems. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get right into the main topic, the D discipline, right? um, I know for many this probably an uncomfortable conversation because they do struggle with it. But how important is D discipline in getting to true manhood?
It's critical because oftentimes we talk about just discipline for discipline's sake, and this is why I think it fails. What we have to really stress, and what I try to stress, is that the discipline is what gets you to your purpose, is what allows you to achieve your purpose. And anything that distracts you or takes you away from that purpose, is to be avoided. So the D discipline is really to keep you focused on achieving what you were put here, as a divine, as African people, we deal with divinity. We call it different things. We have different ways that we associate with the divine, but we're a spiritual people. So we believe that we were put here for a purpose from a higher power. The Almighty put us here for a purpose. And D discipline is going to prevent you, or is going to help you, sorry, to achieve that purpose.
No, serious thing, far right. And speaking about purpose, is that there are two things I want to touch on. I want to touch on the purpose and the self worth. I
Mm-hmm.
believe as a man, when you love yourself more, you don't want to share yourself with people like that, Fire.
Yes.
You just don't want to share yourself with any and anybody. And in regards to the purpose now, right? When you do have a purpose, all actions lead to that purpose, and all forms of discipline become, I don't want to say easier, but more, you're able to execute it better because every aspect of your life, everything you do leads towards that purpose. And anything that would take you away from that purpose that you have control over, we're not talking about things you can't control, but things you have control over, the more the deeper you get into that purpose, the more you can analyze and find what is kind of stunting you from that purpose, and you avoid those things and you start to remove those things. So I think before you can really get to that D discipline, far eye, you need a
Yes.
purpose.
That's the number one mission right now, and I want to make this plain to the viewership. My superpower is my network, so I know a lot of people out there, and I've seen where a brethren link a daughter because she's sexy, she fat, and she round, and things go on. A child is born, and now that whole, that brethren has to divert his whole attention and life to what was maybe a one night vibration. He has nothing in common with this young lady. This young lady is probably a victim of her own trauma, her own, maybe she don't have boundaries, maybe she's a little bit reckless how she's living. And I'm trying to be careful not to make this a judgment kind of the rasa point on people. I'm just trying to lay out the context of why it's important to exercise this discipline. And I've seen brethren's whole life trajectory change. I've seen brethren stressed out because they're with a sister, and because she didn't have boundaries, she has all type of elements around her child.
Hold
What I
on,
mean?
far right. Hold on. We can't leave out the men, far right.
Yes,
We
I.
can't leave out the men. We can't leave out the men, far right, because they do the same thing to the women. I just want to balance out the reason.
No, definitely, definitely, definitely. I have equal fire to give out. And even before I go in any further, I want the people them to know that, I'm a married man, happily married man, just celebrated my 17th anniversary. 'Cause a lot of time you have a brethren come on here,
Congrats.
talking about things, and don't have a life that can balance what he's talking about. So, the aim is to get people into stable relationships, not because for that sake, but because to build our nation, to repair what we've been through with slavery, we need stability. We need stable families so we can build stable organizations, stable institutions, so we can build forward our black economy, circulate the black dollar. All of these things require stability, and the chaos, the trauma, the drama, that that does not breed stability, and we get what we see now, which is other people coming into our communities and benefiting because there's no structure in our communities. There's no generational wealth. There's no stable family. There's a reason why the powerful families of the earth are married, and they keep the wealth within those communities. We have to build that stability. So that's the reason why we talk the way we talk. Is not to say, oh, okay, the Ras thinking better than everyone, because I was there. I'm a reformed gallus. I always say that. I make it clear to tell the people that I used to live them life. I was in the dance hall cocking up foot and all them something there. You know what I mean? I always laugh when I talk to Sprague Benz, because Sprague had a song, cock it up, jack it up, dig out the red, and that was my song. You know what I mean? We attack the dance floor, and we are look for your daughter to cock up our legs. So I'm not saying this, from a place of judgment. I'm saying this as an older brethren, bigger brother to enough of my young brethren, to hopefully give them some inspiration to see that being married is something that is so beautiful, and it's not a boring life. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that everything does cut off. You know what I mean? In fact, your wife will know you better than any woman on a one night stand or whatever. So once you choose right, the sparks where you're gonna get in a marriage, a loving union, is much better than anything you can find a road. You know what I mean? Because you're learning each other, you're growing together. Should know the spots, them, the things, them where you like, all these things. And when you finish, you don't have to worry about someone going on your wallet when you pass out. You don't have to worry about, you know what I mean? You contract a STD or a STI. You don't have to worry about all of these things on the road where data line you up to get robbed by two man just coming upon you because you meet her at a club but you are getting lined up. There's so much danger on the road with that kind of loosey goosey, promiscuous lifestyle. You know what I mean? So I just want to make it clear to your audience, Junior, that we're coming from a place of love.
Farai, do you think that, like, I know we spoke about purpose, right?
Yes,
But I think there's a level of healing to where you don't because there are a lot of things I notice with men that lead them to engage in certain activities that derail them from their purpose.
yes, I.
Um, Sometimes it's boredom. Obviously, we have the trauma. Um, but I wanted to go back to this distortion of manhood, right? And what I noticed between music, now on the internet and film, manhood, being a husband, being a father, almost is presented as a comical thing. The
Yes,
cool person is never the father. The cool person is just like the one off, the single guy, the unstable guy. The stable guy is he's kind of, kind of like a clown. No one takes him seriously. That type of vibe. And when I learned that in my personal life is that between my father and now being a father and being a husband, is that the real soldiers and the real militant people are the husbands and the fathers,
yes,
Maya.
yes. That's the
because
backbone.
because the amount of skill sets that you need to keep your things in order, keep your family together, consistently provide all those other things, nurture, counsel, support. Um, it's almost like a superpower in a sense when you really think about it,
Definitely.
And as I've gotten older, my respect for husbands and fathers has went through the roof, because really seeing and really understanding what it takes to do that, and it takes way more than what society presents. And I think that the TV shows and now the social media vibe has kind of distorted people's views of being a husband and being a father, and more than anything, too far right, their personal experience. I think there's too much generalizations with family. They have a bad experience in their thing, and they put it off on everyone else instead of figuring out how they could kind of develop their thing and create a good situation for themselves.
Part of the problem is that the men that are in happy relationships, we have not done a good job of spreading positive propaganda about the union of marriage. The slackness has had a domination, a monopoly on the airwaves. So everything that you see that looks exciting is slackness. When you're in a happy marriage, usually you just let your work talk. You know, you have a certain characteristic. But we see in the digital age, that's not good enough anymore, which is why we're having these conversations now, or these true conversations now, because we realize we cannot keep quiet any longer, because they're making the chaos and the slackness look like it's exciting, when we know in fact that the people who are married are the ones who are really holding up the society. Because guess what happened now? Marriage is accountability, and a lot of people run from accountability. When you are accountable, come home every day, put food on the table, show up for your youths emotionally, economically. So, you know, that's a big, heavy load for enough people to carry. And so, you know, those brethren are not talking about that. They're just doing it, you know what I mean, as the dutiful brethren that they are. But that can't work any longer, because now the propaganda, the slackness propaganda becomes so prevalent, it starts to influence youth. So now you even have youths coming out of two-parent homes that are, you know, having outcomes that are not consistent, making the choices to try to follow the hype that they see presented on TV and these things, because we have not done our job of creating an alternative. You know what I mean? At least when we were growing up, you had the Cosby Show, certain things that would show an intact family. But if you notice, you know, from the 2000s, even in the sitcoms, you barely see, you know, strong male figures in a family, or a strong alpha male figure holding a family unit together. That is not shown within the media. As you say, he's a clown, he's put down, all of these things, and this is by design. So what I'm saying to all of the brethren who are holding it, who are uplifted, you have to reason more. You have to let the young brethren around you know that yes, I'm in full enjoying myself. You know, because the narrative is you get married, the sex dry up, you're there, you're lonely. You know what I mean? They just make marriage look like it's a prison. You know what I mean? And we have to break this narrative, break this concept of what marriage is. Marriage is a union, is a business, it's an institution, you know, that families have used from time immemorial to pass wealth from generation to generation. So, if we're going to build a strong nation, we need strong families. We need vetting, because the marriage, the family is also the vetting mechanism. You know, right now you have single women who are vetting men by themselves. You have single men that are vetting women by themselves. You know, in traditional culture, you would bring that person to your family, and they would have to run the gauntlet, and you would be getting all of this information from your uncle, from your sisters, from your brothers. You know what I mean? Everybody a thing, so you can make a better decision based on that familiar energy. And then also you have people in your family doing background check on their family, making sure. And that brethren would also know, if I this girl and deal with her way, I have all the brothers to deal with, I have the father to deal with, I have, you know what I mean? So even if it doesn't work out, I'm going to treat her tenderly, because I don't want, you know what I mean, these brethren after
Feel the
me.
backlash.
We don't want the backlash, you know, literally and physically sometime, you know what I mean? Because man used to get beat down. You deal with my sister a certain way, we'll come for you. That accountability is not present in most of our, you know, we don't even bring people around our family anymore, you know what I mean, because of whatever reason. So you out there by yourself trying to make a way. And most of the time, we know by the statistics, it's not working out. So we gotta return to our foundation, and our culture is a rich culture. African cultures across the continent have different ways, but it's a rich, you know what I mean, basket of culture that we can choose from, to ensure that we put forward in place these vetting mechanisms, these traditional things that served us and our ancestors for millennia.
No, serious thing, fire. And before we get into the next topic, I want to remind the people, make sure you get your tickets. Groundings with my brothers and sisters. We'll be in Philadelphia October 12th. We'll have Styles P there, Muda Baruka, Nuri Muhammad, the Dejazmatch Kwasi here of the Lions Voice Network. He'll be on the panel with Dorothy, Holly, and Lawrence Aja, speaking about everything you need to know about marriage, the vetting process, maintaining your marriage, getting through the rough times, keeping the good times, the whole vibe. We also have Deborah Hines, a midwife, Asasia. I put information there in the chat if you're interested in group tickets, 40% off, five or more people, 60% off, 10 or more people. Email us at info.ineverknewtv.com if you're interested. I'll also put the Eventbrite link in the chat soon. Looking forward to see everyone there. Far, there's the next part. Um, my brother and an old head actually told me this when I was younger, and this is a key component with the whole relationship. We actually spoke about when the things kind of get to that level, but
Yes.
being proactive and ducking and dodging the situation. I remember as a guy, he probably not gonna watch this, but anyway, it was an elder, a real elder, not an older. He told me that you don't need to experience everything because you may like it too much,
Serious talk.
right? And this is with narcotics, women, everything, or vice versa, women with the men. Because what happens is that the experience, the sexual experience you like it so much. And what occurs now is that a lot of red flags that you see, you just in denial about it, fire. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything everything you see that's up in your face, you like, your order change this and that, and it get too a little far and you find yourself in a problem. So I think that when I was younger, I never understood. I'm not a Bible man. I'm not sure if you're a Bible man, so don't burn me out, fire eye.
Yeah, yeah, no, no,
Don't
no.
burn me out too much, fire.
I support the Bible
All right,
and
all right,
read it with overstanding, you know?
all right. But there are many teachings within the Bible because we have a lot of Christian people tuned in, and
Yes,
like I really understand that concept of that premarital sex because when you engage in that fire, you're opening up a world of confusion. You get what I'm saying? That can be avoided. And you spoke about it earlier in regards to derailing your life because uh man, depending on what woman that you're with, and woman that depending what man that you're with, the destiny that you have, you might not reach it.
serious. It's serious. I'm nodding my head solemnly because I've been there.
Yeah.
You know what
So
I mean? I've been with women that I know I shouldn't have been with, but there's something there. You know what I mean? Was so spectacular that, you know what I mean, we find ourselves in situations, dark places. So this is a real thing that we have to talk about as brethren, you know, brethren to brethren. Um, you have to really, and this is why purpose is so important. So you have a roadmap that's going to help to steer you because I want to be real with the people today. I want to be very real. Even though you're married, it doesn't mean your eyes are blind. It doesn't mean that your body stops working. It doesn't mean you don't see the great beauty that the Most High has created, namely the black woman of the earth, which is the greatest creation that the Almighty ever created. You know what I mean? And you know, so when you are exposed to this, and especially if you're a brethren that has charisma, you have some little charm about you, you know what I mean? These are things that can cause you to make improper decisions because if a sister is not in alignment with your purpose, you have no business taking it to any other level to even find out about what she does that is so spectacular. You know what I mean? You don't even want to get there because anything that's going to take you out of alignment to your purpose, it should be avoided and is a detriment to you because it can literally, you know, we all want to reach prosperity. Our prosperity lies within our purpose. When we can find that alignment, and I wanted to define purpose because sometimes we use these words, fire, and you know what I mean? People are like, what is that? You know, how do I find purpose? So I want to just kind of give, you know, my definition of purpose, which, you know, I say is it's what you can do, you know, with your unique skill set. That means that it's something that you can do that you have a unique talent for that when you're doing it, it doesn't even feel like you're doing work. You're just doing, and it has to be something that is making the world a better place, you know, because it has to be in alignment with the divine. It can't be your purpose is to go shot people because you're a good aimer, you know what I mean? No, your purpose should be making the world a better place. So when you find that alignment, that means, you know, all of us have unique skills and talents, and you find that out by trying things, failing at things, going on. This is what your teens and your 20s are for, trying different things, joining different clubs, taking different works, courses, just doing as much as you can so you find what your unique talent and skill. Once you find that talent and skill, now you pursue it and it doesn't feel like work. Now you build a mastery in it and you figure out how you monetize that. And that's your purpose. So that's what I'm saying could take a decade, it could take a year, it could take a few months. It's different for everybody. So what you want to do is try to identify it. The quicker you identify it, the quicker you can start on your journey to achieve it, because that's where your personal Zion lies. That's where you're going to find your happiness, your prosperity, and everything that you're going to fully realize yourself as a human being. So that should be the purpose of every human soul that is manifested on the planet, to identify that. There are a lot of things that distract us in this digital age and just historically from even knowing that that's why we're here or pursuing that pathway. Once you find that pathway or that purpose, now you're looking for a helpmate. And this goes for brethren and sistren, because for a sistren, you're looking for a kingman to govern within your kingdom. And for a kingman, you're looking for a helpmate that's going to help you to amplify, to plus everything you're doing, that's going to help you scale. So when you think of things in that manner, then the fat, sexy girl where you see down the road and she can barely read, excuse me, I'm just using an analogy. How is she gonna help you to achieve this purpose that you have identified? She's not gonna help you do that. Plus, she a deal with drug dealer Derek down the road will carry the big fat matic, and then you go deal with her, and then Derek want come check you now. You're a duck and a hide, and you're in this whole TV soap opera because you wanted this fat sexy girl down the road. You understand? And it had nothing to do with your divine purpose.
Serious thing.
So I'm just giving these examples so people can understand what we're dealing with, how much it can derail you by not identifying this simple thing, which is your purpose. Everything circulates around that, because if everyone's living within their purpose, we have heaven on earth.
Facts.
The fact that we don't have people living in their purpose is why we get Babylon and this. We see the manifestation of hell manifesting around the planet and spreading through war and violence and crime. Why? Because Babylon has taken people and put them into service for their wicked plans. But
Far right.
I'm sorry, I said I would be disciplined.
No. Hold
Yeah.
your argument. I just wanted to add a piece. I wanted you to add this to what you were saying, right? And I give thanks for the clarification on purpose for those listening. I'm pretty sure they're thankful too. Self worth, all right.
Yes, I.
Self worth. I think that's a key component. I know we need a purpose, but you need to feel worthy of good things. I think that plays a role in a lot of the actions brothers play and sisters play. They don't feel worthy of good things. You
Yes.
don't feel, and when I say good things, I don't mean monetary or just monetary, but just life, right? Just good things, achieving goals, just the beauty of life, joy and happiness, striving, peace. When you don't have that self worth, you kind of just out there. And I'm not sure if y'all listen to Fire, what he's trying to break down is that you can't be out there just because you open yourself up. Far when you engage with another human being, you're opening yourself up to so much confusion. Far I don't think people. I don't
Everything
think
that comes with that person,
everything,
you are taking onto yourself.
everything, and like with the self worth plus the purpose. Now, I think that's a key deterrent for a lot of actions because one, you're able to analyze the situation if it applies to the purpose. And also, two, you can break down where this thing is leading. You're not so short sighted when you're really in tune to it. You're not thinking about the 30 minutes, the hour, the day. How will this impact me long term? How will this situation, how does me engaging with this person impact me long term? And will this help me achieve my purpose? Now, if the answer is no, you need to keep it moving and grooving.
Um,
And shockingly enough, a lot of times it will be no. A lot of stuff you're going to do in your life, if you approach it from that standpoint, a lot of things are going to be no.
I'm telling you. It's serious. And as Rastafari, His Majesty teaches us that your worth comes into realizing that you're an instrument of the Almighty. So I think a lot of people, because we grow in an individualistic society, the West is about hyper individualism. It's all about me. I mean, it's all, we come from a culture where it was Ubuntu. I am because we are. And once you realize that you're part of the Almighty's toolbox to implement the Almighty work, that's where your worth comes from, and that's where your unique talent or skill, comes. But I think the pressure and a lot of things come from disconnecting from the higher power. You know what I mean? When you're disconnected from that Almighty source, then you start going to, it's all about me. I'm a failure. I'm this. I'm that, instead of saying that as an instrument of the Most High, I'm learning this, and failure is a part of the process, because a baby doesn't get up and start walk and run up and down. The baby is going to crawl, he's going to fall, he's going to drop until he learns. So failure is a part of the journey. But if you fail and you don't realize you're an instrument of the Most High on the path to your purpose, you're gonna think about, it's me that's failing. I'm a failure. You take everything onto yourself. So, and I think that's one of the root causes of depression in our society, and the root causes of enough of the things them that we see, the bleaching, the this, the that, because you get hyper individualistic. Everything is about what's going on with you, instead of realizing that you are an extension of the Most High. Big up our Bobo Shanti family. That's a man of right, is God in flesh. Big up my Naya Bingi family, my order where we say do good. The heartbeat, when you hear the heartbeat is saying do good, do good, do good. So if you listen to that heartbeat and you do good, what I mean, you're not going to have that lack of self-worth, because you realize that you were put here as an instrument to fulfill a specific purpose. And the joy of life is just that journey of fulfilling that purpose, that give you that testimony, so that when you're in the council of the great ones, you can say, say, me did do this and this happen, and me drop on my face and me get up, because the getting up after the drop on your face is part of the glory. There's no great person in history that hasn't had part of adversity. Uh, adversity. There's no great person, or you wouldn't be great. It's too simple. Where's the greatness in that? So the self-worth again comes from realizing that you're an instrument of the Almighty, whatever you call that Almighty, Allah, Buddha. And I yield him. That's Kadamawi Haile Selassie the first, without apology. And I feel so much joy every day I wake up, because I'm on that pathway. You know what I mean? And everyone should have that joy by realizing that the Almighty now go fail you once you do, but it may not come in your time. That's another thing. A lot of the lack of self-worth comes from vanity, because we think that it should happen in our time. I should have been rich by this year and it didn't happen, so now I feel worthless. You know what I mean? But it's not in that time. Everything happens according to the Almighty timetable. So that is the next thing. Vanity is one of the biggest things that's keeping us from realizing our divine purpose, our divine self. We have to burn out the individual vanity.
Serious thing, far right, and we give we give thanks for the reason. I just want to remind the people, make sure check us out, Groundings with our brothers and sisters. We'll be in Philadelphia, October 12th. Styles P will be there. Muda Baruka will be there. We'll be doing a live with Muda Baruka tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Nuri Muhammad will be there. Check out the live reason we did Nuri Muhammad last week. The Dejazmatch Kwasi of the Lions Voice Network will be on the panel with Dr. Dorothy Holly and Lawrence I, just speaking about marriage. We have Deborah Hines there, also midwife Asasia. I want to say respect to Empress Chica from Those Times Foundation. I never knew TV supporter from Those Times, Far Eye.
Yes, big
Big
up
up
Empress
yourself.
Chica.
She said marriage is togetherness, in sickness and in health. I've been married for 31 years. I didn't even have a green card. If you get married for the right reasons, then everything will fall in line. We give thanks for sharing. Anyone on, we're opening up for questions for the Josh Mach Kwasi. in the context of what we've been talking about, Farai, right? Within this context,
Yes, yes.
within the purpose, within the vetting, within the D discipline, please,
Yeah, let's reason. Let me know if I'm making sense. We're not making sense. Again, I've been with my queen over 20 years. We've been married formally 17 years. I mean, I met my queen in high school. We had a little separation. We got forward together, and I can say that I'm in the sweetest part of the marriage right now. I mean, where we are right now, um, to I is the sweetest part of all of the time. So let the people know that marriage is a beautiful thing.
and Farai, I'm glad you brought that up because, with the marriage, we got the ups and downs and rounds. And like, I don't know, Farai, if it's the R&B songs, I don't know if it's the Hollywood movies, but people leave out life in marriage. And in
Yes,
life, you have ups and downs with any relationship. So I don't know why in marriage you don't think you're gonna have your periods, but the beauty is working through those periods and staying in there
definitely,
to
definitely.
get to those points. I think like, and maybe that's what's hurting the younger generation so much. They believe it's just bliss. It's just 24/7. Like I'm happy. He, and these are individual human beings, complex people coming together to make this thing work. And it takes a lot of work to make. Fire. That's the next reason too. That's the next reason too. Um, I think that and me and Fire spoke about this on the podcast. Anyone listening, check us out, Ballhead and the Dread podcast. The way we've been groomed in this society or these capitalistic societies that you're supposed to put work in everything else, right? So you put work in your
Yes,
job, you put work in the everything else but relationships. You're not supposed to put any effort and work in relationships. They're just supposed to work. And when they don't work, everyone's confused.
no, that's a fantasy.
Am I
You
lying,
get
Far right? That's
no,
pretty
no. That's
much
that's that's
that's the
that's
formula,
true.
right?
It's a fantasy. Two different human beings coming from two different upbringings. There's gonna be highs and lows. There's gonna be times when you don't like each other. You know what I mean? You're annoyed at each other. There's going to be times when you disagree vehemently on fundamental things too sometimes. So, but it's all about how you work things out, maintaining boundaries, never getting disrespectful. And this is part of your vetting process as well, even before you get married. Because if you're with someone and as soon as you have a disagreement, things get disrespectful and these are red flags.
And volatile.
You know what I mean? That you cannot ignore. And a lot of brethren ignore and say, boy, you know what I mean? Yeah, she boxed me on my face and spitting on my face and thing. But we made up, I'm in love her. But these are all signs if people can't keep that respect and that boundary, even in the bad time. You don't need to be with that person because most likely it's going to get into some chaotic situation, police get involved, all kind of things. So you have to look at all these things from the vetting standpoint is how do we move when we disagree? My wife and I can disagree. Me still I open the door for her. Me not like her. You know, me still I go make sure I say she good. Me I go call her. Me I go, you know what I mean? But these are things that we've always been like that. You know what I mean? My wife, I've done some things I'm not proud of. My wife never disrespect me a day in our life. You know what I mean? Never hold no grudge. Never bring up, well, you did XYZ in the past. You know what I mean? Never tell her, even our friends, about some things where happen. You know what I mean? Keep it to ourselves. So these were things that let me know, say, you know what, this queen is really for I. You know what I mean? And even to this day, those qualities, you know what I mean, help us to preserve because one of the things you don't want too many third parties in your marriage, in your relationship. That's what can spoil a perfectly good relationship is when too much other people are give their advice and things inside of your union. So these are things that we have to really emphasize to brethren and sistren that it's work. You know what I mean? You go sweat. You know what I mean? You have to lift weights. You know what I mean? You have to do all kind of things metaphorically, if you keep this thing together and to keep this thing healthy.
And Farah, I'm well, I'm not gonna say a rookie, but I'm not as much as a veteran in you because I'm 10 years, um, and we've been together for 30 time. But from my experience, I can't speak on next person's experience because I don't know if they have it. But there's nothing more with my wife that support fire. Having a person that genuinely supports you and wants the best for
Yes,
you. It's a rare thing in life, and I think majority of people never experience that, and you're blessed to even experience that. Some people experience it and they don't see it, and kind of don't have that appreciation. But for anyone listening, man, if you can find someone that truly supports you and just wants the best for you.
it's important. And my wife, everything I do, the Lion Voice Network, she's my producer. I'm an attorney. She's my paralegal. You know what I mean? She went to Georgetown, got certified at the top paralegal institution. You know what I mean? Anything that she ready for add value, and that's so important for couples to know that we work together, we're a team, and everything we're a team. You know what I mean? When we were purchasing land in Ghana, she was there overseeing the land purchase while I was working, and we balance each other. All of these things you can't do by yourself, and having someone that you can have complete trust, complete. We have joint accounts. We don't have no plan B. My queen and I are basically one flesh. We are family, and I give thanks. Now that might not be for everyone. Everyone's union look different. I'm not saying you have to do it like I know my queen from 17 years old. She was 17. You know what I mean? So um, I was in high school. She was in high school. We went to the same high school. She went to the same grade school I went to. So I know our whole history. You know what I mean? So I'm comfortable, maybe a different level than our next brethren would be comfortable. But the point is having that helpmate, that person that you can depend on. There's nothing more valuable than that when it comes on to achieving your purpose. Because one of the things you will realize once you identify your purpose and you go on that path is how difficult it is to reach your purpose, because it's not a static state. When you achieve purpose, it's not you reach here and then it's done. You know what I mean? Yeah, you reach there and then you're gonna scale. You're gonna go to the next level. You're gonna go to that's how the Almighty always set him thing. Is no limit. So you're gonna need someone to help balance you. If you're gonna have a family, you want someone who, and this is the next key thing for the brethren in terms of the D discipline. One of the things that helped I went through a period of celibacy. And one of the things that helped I said the next woman I deal with has to be worthy to be the mother of my children. Right? That's so that cut out so much people. You know what I mean? Because I think, would I want my youth, if I'm coming again, would I want my youth to be subjected under this lady as his mother? You know what I mean? So I'm checking them from that perspective, and that helped to keep I so disciplined, because I was seeing little things and saying, boy, I can't, I couldn't do that to my younger self or to my youth. So this is very important, is, you know what I mean? When you're thinking about dealing with a daughter, you know what I mean? You have to understand that this is going to be the person that, is the mother of my children. I have a brethren, I'm not going to say no names, but he married a sister that couldn't cook, that was dealing with pure fast food. And, now that is one of his things that hurt him hard, is that, they're no longer together. And when the children are with their mother, beer, fast food, and these things, and you know what I mean. So these are things you have to look at. They may seem small, and if you're just chasing the something there, they probably minimize. You probably don't think about it more than anything. But if you're thinking about it from the perspective of this is going to be the foundation for the kingdom that I'm building, then you're going to look at it different.
No, serious thing for. I hope they took notes on the things you said, because the main thing is the intention and the perspective you have when you approach these things that guide your actions. I think that if you don't have a guide for your actions, you'll be misguided and you'll just be doing anything. You really need to have kind of, a focus when you're out here moving. Anyone in the chat, please put a question in there for the Dejazmatch Kwasi. Someone said, I believe marriage makes you stronger. I'm a firm believer in that. And I believe that there are different levels of maturity in life. And I think I think puts you, marriage marriage puts you at a different level of maturity, and also truthfulness with yourself, because there's another aspect fire that I can speak of. Fire, you gotta look into yourself and see where you need to improve.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying? Because when you hear brothers, especially online, you need a ticket for the show. I'll put the link in the chat. Give thanks. You hear it's more like what everybody else is doing, and no one wants to acknowledge what they're doing to aid. And I think as brothers, you really need to check yourself and see areas you need to improve in. 'Cause I feel I improved tremendously as a husband, as a father, and there's much more work I have to do. But the whole point is I'm able to be truthful with myself to say, you know what, Fire, I need to tighten up in that area. I'm not doing that right. And I think too many times, especially on the men, well, with the women too, but we're talking about men, there's a denial about the areas we have to improve in. And I don't know if it's ego, I don't know if it's ignorance, I don't know if it's stubbornness, but when you refuse to, when you refuse to improve in those areas, especially after you've been told about it, don't feel away if you like the gong talking about she's gone or he's gone, Fire. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm not saying if it hasn't been communicated, but it's clearly been communicated in regards to what needs to be improved, and you deny it. Don't feel no way, Fire, when the place empty.
No, it's serious. I see a question in the chat there.
Let's see what we have here. Does having a relationship with God help with finding your partner? Absolutely. Fire, I'll let you take care of that one.
I don't think there's any other way. You know what I mean? I think you cannot sustain a long-term relationship without a love of the creator and a relationship with the divine, because the divine is internal, it's inside of you. So if you're not connected with self, again, the self-worth, true self-worth comes from knowing that you're an instrument of the divine. Man will fail you every single time. The flesh will fail you every time. One of the things that raises us above the animals and everything else on this creation is that divinity that we hold within ourselves, that we can think things and make them become manifest. So you have to have that relationship with the divine, because without that, you're not going to know who to vet, what to vet for, what is your purpose. Everything is connected. And without knowing your purpose, how can you choose a helpmate to help you achieve that purpose if you haven't identified the purpose? How can you identify your divine purpose if you don't identify that divine within self? So a lot of the chaos that we see, the trauma, the molestation, the this, the that, it comes out of this environment where they have deprioritized the creator, deprioritized connection, community, family, all of these things that were pillars. They were the safety belts of society that kept us from going off of the edge, off of the ledge. They have destroyed these things systematically, what I mean, with this Greco-Roman culture that they have imposed upon I, and this hedonistic world religion. The world religion of today is hedonism, the pleasure principle. I mean, everybody I look for pleasure and self-pleasure. And without doing, and when you do that, you create chaos, because everybody's self-pleasure got different, and some people's self-pleasure comes from perversion. So we cannot base a society off of self-pleasure. Have to be based off of, again, service to the Most High. And this is why religion was created. Religion was perverted, we know that. But that was one of the reasons, because it's to put certain things in place, certain rituals, certain things in place, so that people would have a scaffolding, a foundation for walk the straight life. When you take away these things, then you leave chaos. So to answer your question, 1000%, you need a relationship with the creator to help with your relationship. And I would say without that, your relationship is almost doomed to fail.
And I wanted to add just to Life of Sanaya and also Jim Broski. It's kind of have the same questions that Fire, you feel and hear a lot of things we in denial about stuff, Fire. The spidey sensing, the spidey sensing is running a lot of times, but we're so in denial about it. And what I learned about a lot of people is that you'll hear something, you'll see something, and you need someone else to validate what the universe told you. You asking somebody else what you saw. You get what I'm saying? And the
Yes.
message was there, and you just have that feeling about the person for whatever reason, and you need to kind of embrace that and work with that. There's another question here from Hamilton Brown. What conflict resolution tactics can you share to help quell fires of relationship conflict?
I'll tell you what I use. I always see myself as a leader of my house, and as the leader, you don't have the luxury of certain things. You know what I mean? Um, because going tit for tat with someone, it feels good in the moment, but a leader, if you're trying to lead a strong foundation family, you don't have that luxury. So one of the things that I do when the conflict arises is I, always remember, okay, I'm an emissary of the Most High, and my wife is going through something, and we're going through something here. What is the lesson that is trying to be, or what is the stumbling block? I try to dissect it. You know what I mean? And to be fair, I'm a very balanced person. I don't go through a lot of emotional highs and lows. How you see me, you can talk to my brethren them from grade school and they tell you this is just how I am. But what I try to do is just really listen. I try to, you know, pick sense out of nonsense. I realize sometimes that emotion can get the best, but I try not to get into that. Even though, the queen may say something more and you may feel the best thing as a king man is not to respond out of emotion. Hold your thoughts, filter them, and speak with a mind of how do we resolve this, or how do I acknowledge, what the other person is feeling, but at the same time, make some suggestions that's going to bring this to a fullness. And it takes practice because you get hurt. As brethren, we get our feelings hurt. But then always remember, if you're at your job and things happen, you can't just fly off the hook and kick a man. And you're not going to do that if you're at the job. You're going to hold yourself and you're going to have a certain decorum because you work for the boss. I deal with it the same way, but the boss is the Most High. And the Most High is telling you this is not the way that we're going to resolve the thing. And I always am trying to make my queen stronger as she's always trying to make I stronger. So when we approach things from that perspective, we can always find a middle ground. Now, saying that sometimes we may not talk for all a day. You know, come in already, me not ready for black in that way. Me not ready yet, but I have the discipline to hold myself.
Serious thing before I got
So
cool off
once
a little
you
bit.
utter the spoken word, it travel at the speed of light. You can't take that back.
All right, you know
So
what?
better you don't
Truthfully,
say nothing than you say the wrong thing.
no,
Especially as a king. You know what I mean?
no, serious thing. That, and I just could recommend that. Fire, when you say these words, just know they're gonna have long term impact, and just ask yourself, is it worth it? Especially if this is a person you're gonna be with for the rest of your life. Is it worth damaging this person with what I'm gonna say? Like I have many faults, Fire, right? But one of the things I think I'm very good at is not saying crazy stuff to people, Fire,
That's it.
because I know the damage that it could be done.
That is it. And,
So
and,
it's a
and as a brethren, we all know what you could say to damage your queen
yeah,
for
so it's just
life.
like
So you can't do this up.
no, it's not worth it because um, majority of people screwed up because of words, Fire. It's not no beating, it's nothing, it's words,
And you
you know.
can't come back. You
And you
can
can't
try to
come back.
repair.
You can't come back, Fire. You
No,
can't
you
come
can
back.
try to repair. You can
You can't come back.
apologize,
You know.
but you
So
can't. You know what I mean. So hold your discipline as a man.
that's the next.
Remember the discipline you have at your work. For the boss, when the customer come out, you can't just go yell down the customer or box down because you represent the company. You're representing the Almighty as one of the stewards, one of the sons and daughters. So always carry yourself in that manner when you're dealing with your loved one, and remember that My wife is the daughter of the Most High, so I can't just fly off the handle to the daughter of the Most High. I'm gonna get a judgment if I mistreat the Almighty daughter. So I have to deal with her gentle. You know
No,
what I mean? So the boss don't beat me.
yeah, I think you can acknowledge where things need to improve or concerns you have, but like if I had some things I see going on where it's like just talking crazy to people, no, that's not where it's at because as I said before, this is somebody you plan on building with long term, and your whole thing is to build them up so they're as strong as possible. They have the highest level of self confidence, and they're on the heights, and you can't tear them down with your words. Um, Anybody else have a question in the chat for Dejazmatch Kwasi? Also, if you're unaware, Dejazmatch Kwasi, the reading Ross is what I call him. He's the owner of the Lions Voice Network. He has some great, powerful conversations there with a diverse group of members of the Rastafari movement. Very powerful reason. So if you never checked it out, make sure you do. Also, he's been on I Never Knew TV numerous times, whether it's an interview or Ballhead in the Dread podcast or the live vibe. So um, never disappoints with his reasons, always informative, always enlightening. So it may sting some of you a little bit because he's giving out that truth. He's giving that truth with the Lion's voice. So make sure you check the brother out, support him there, the Lion's Voice Network here on YouTube and all social medias. We have a Bridget interesting question, and you can give him some history here. He asks, let me put it up there. What does the name the Jas Mach come from?
It's an Ethiopian title. It means commander of the gate or keeper of the door. Was one of the titles of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I on his journey to becoming the emperor. He was born with the title of Lidge, and then at the age of 13 was given the title of the Chazmach, and then at the age of 24 became Ras, and then at the age of 28 became Negos, which is king, and then Nagus and Agas. So as Rastafari, we walk within that same journey of His Majesty. And when I came in the faith, my elders gave me the title of Ras. But when I studied His Majesty and saw that he had other titles I said, I don't want to skip no stage. So I gave myself the title of the Chazmach. And the Chazmach, when he was the Chazmach, he was in the process of structuring Harar, building institutions within Ethiopia and gathering strength. And I see that's where I am in my own personal journey. So it means a lot to live, you know, through that lens of the Chazmach. But I also go by Ras Kwasi. Some of the elders will forever call me Ras, so I also go by Ras. Ras is a governor to Aya. Ras is someone who leads thousands. I'm not there yet, but I will be there fully in the fullness, and we're building that infrastructure. So, just a little history. That's where the Chazmach comes from, and we talk about all of these things over on the Lion Voice Network. So, if you find it fascinating, Ethiopian history, Rastafari culture, you can join us over at the Lion's Voice Network. We're the fastest growing Rastafari platform right now. We just added 1,000 subscribers in the last 8 days. So the thing a bubble over there, so and we would welcome I Never Knew TV family to the Lion Voice family.
No, serious thing, Farai. Any more questions? Because we will be leaving soon. I have to remind the people, make sure you get your tickets. Groundings with my brothers and sisters. Can't wait to see you there. Holistic Health Conference. We have Styles P, Muda Baruka, Nori Muhammad, the Dejazmatch Kwasi, Dr. Dorothy Holly, Lawrence Aja, Deborah Hines, midwife, Asasia. Invest in yourself, right? A lot of you spending money on things that's not really, you're not getting a return on. And this thing here, if I'm not trying to hype it up because I'm a part of it. Even if I wasn't, I would have been there because this one
It's
kind of,
going to sell off. It's going
the
to
thing,
sell off. Get your tickets now. Don't be shy. The
the
thing I
thing,
going to sell off. It's history. We're
yeah,
healing the community. This brethren has been a force for so much knowledge, and now he's bringing it to a live platform where the community is going to be meeting, networking, healing. I'm one of the founders of the Jamaica Music Conference, so I know what a conference can do in terms of connecting people. So when you put all of these sources of light together. This is part of the uprising, and we weren't alive during civil rights or the revolutionary movements of the 60s and 70s, but we're here for grounding with our brothers and sisters. Don't make it pass you. Be part of the change that we want to see. This is Armageddon. World War III is here upon us. What are we doing as black people, as the mothers and fathers of civilization? Are we passive, or are we going to come together and heal and rise?
And I want to let the people know too. So a lot of people are flying in, but if you can't make it, please feel free to donate. I put two links in the chat, or the names in the chat, the tags. We have the Cash App there, and we have the Venmo. Or if you want to sponsor a ticket, which many people have done already, respected them same way. You can sponsor a ticket. Just email us at info@ineverknewtv.com. We'll acknowledge you in the live reasons along with on stage at the conference. All right. So if you want to just donate to support the program, or you want to sponsor a ticket, you can't make it for whatever reason, please email us at info@ineverknewtv.com. Dejazmatch Kwasi, always a pleasure. I am looking forward. When I say I'm looking forward, if I am looking forward to you, Dr. Dorothy Holly, and Lawrence Aja, sharing. What do you say you have about like maybe 70, 80 years of marriage experience on the
Yes,
stage? Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm
It's gonna
looking
be
forward
powerful.
to
It's gonna
you,
be
and
beautiful.
also you guys building together and sharing information on the vetting process, sustaining the marriage through the ups and downs. So I'm looking forward to that reason. We always give thanks for your time. We always give thanks for your wisdom. We give thanks for your support, your counsel. This brethren here, a real brethren, still too fight, because this man give me enough counsel behind the scenes. Yeah, the brethren give me enough strength and counsel and guidance, and so we give thanks for that.
No, and I learn a lot from the eye. Likewise, iron sharpen iron. Big up Van Rick Pope. Said that they come over to the Lion Voice and
Yeah,
they
respect
found,
to
yeah,
Mr.
big up King. And all of the family, what I mean, and even this brethren for seeing the light in I and partnering at such a big platform with the little Talawa platform. What I mean? We give thanks for that, Junior. You have to big up yourself. You really are a special human being. And I'm honored every time I get to come on this platform and to bless up the I Never Knew TV family. This has never been done because I have African Americans, Caribbean, Africans, the
Africans fighting
real,
for.
real Pan African platform,
Seriously.
and I don't think, we've had Pan African platform, but it's usually segmented to the Caribbean, the African Americans, the Africans, and this platform really is a bastion, is a university level education when you go through your catalog. So just big up yourself, King.
We give thanks
Continue,
for
and I'm looking forward to this evolution, the conference. This is
seriously
going to be
for
something written about in the history books, and I'm glad to be there for the first one. It's going to be monumental.
serious thing. Give thanks for everyone tuning in. Give thanks for everyone supporting the thing from those times to now. I'm gonna chop up this video and I'll be posting it throughout the week on the different topics. Make sure you check it out. Also, as I stated before, make sure you get your tickets. If you can't get your tickets, you still can support. I put the tags there for the Cash App, the Venmo, and also if you want to sponsor a ticket, please email your interest to info@ineverknewtv.com. Truly give thanks for everyone supporting the thing from those times to now. Stay safe.